everyone. Welcome again to another episode of Motion Picture Meltdown. I'm your host, Stephen the Roast Rosenberg, along with just my co-host, Mark the Shark Hinton today.
That's me.
Phil the Kill Collins could not be here. He's working on his documentary.
No, he's not. He is not.
His documentary about
jerking off horses.
Yes. With him not being here today will probably come good fortune, and there probably won't be a bunch of poor kids running around outside screaming.
I was just outside like less than 10 minutes ago, and there are a bunch of poor kids on scooters.
Good.
They were just screeching right when you hit record, too.
We got Brandy somewhere back there in the background. Say hi, Brandy.
Hi. She's not important.
Yeah,
she's on Tumblr.
She's most definitely looking up either cats or drag queens.
I'm doing none of those things. I am important, so fuck all you.
Or cats with drag.
Well, there are cats crawling all over her right now
Yeah.
while she's looking at pictures of Leonardo DiCaprio.
Well, that's okay.
I can see that. Well, of course, because you have a giant man crush on him. You just want to smack his penis on your chin. It's
kind of like you and Robert Redford.
Why Robert Redford? Did you just pick a name?
You know, actually, you have a big boner for Peter Weller. Which
I'm fine with Peter Weller.
And you want him to smack you in the face with his big Robocop dick.
Oh, Robocock.
Yeah.
Just Robocock.
Mark, have you watched anything good lately?
Well, been watching Breaking Bad, which has been kicking serious fucking ass. It so far has not been a letdown for a final season of the show.
Like another show that...
unlike another show, which has been a bag full of just salty, sweaty penises. Fuck Dexter. It's stupid. It's if it wasn't for the fact that it's the final fucking season and I love the show so much, I wouldn't watch it because it's just that fucking poor. Yeah. And I think, we went and saw Insidious 2 the other night, but we really didn't get to watch it.
That's true. Although the parts of it that I did get glimpses of were pretty good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the storyline of Insidious 2, which is a good kind of start into Halloween coming up in October. I'm sure we're going to get a bunch of horror movies that we haven't seen trailers for all year just pop up out of nowhere in October and be
700 fucking horror movies will come out in 2 weeks. Oh yeah, and I watched The Lords of Salem, which I'd like to talk about a little bit because everybody that I know that has seen it, with the exception of like 2 people, has said that they absolutely fucking hated it. And it got shit on. It didn't even get a wide release, which was weird for a Rob Zombie film. But I enjoyed it. It reminded me a lot of like Rosemary's Baby.
Which is
very like old
classic.
School 70s satanic cult horror.
Well, if you're a horror fan and you don't know Rosemary's Baby, then
GTFO.
Yeah.
GTFO. I think that's all I've really watched here lately, except for Newsroom, which is awesome.
You know, I watched a couple episodes of Newsroom, but I haven't gone any further than that. I've got so many things to watch that I've just got a backlog of shit to put in front of my face.
Well, by the time you get around to it, the second season will be over because I think there's only like 2 episodes left this season. And it's been just as good as the first.
Cool. Have I watched anything? I did, like you said, Insidious 2. Can't really think of anything. I think we talked about Elysium the last time.
Yeah.
I did see Elysium, which was pretty good.
You've been watching that Ray Donovan show, too.
Ray Donovan is excellent. I've never really had the respect for Liev Schreiber that I have now. I always knew he was a talented actor and the small parts that he has played but it seems like most of the movies that I've seen him in were pretty crappy.
Yeah, the movies were bad. It wasn't necessarily a gauge on his talent.
Right. Like
Scream and all 74 of the fucking shitty sequels.
And Sphere.
Ooh.
I mean, and then
Sabretooth when the Wolverine movie.
Right. And I don't really think he did that bad of a job as Sabretooth. He's just
I wouldn't have picked him for Sabretooth.
He's a little too lanky and I don't know. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Not hairy enough.
But he plays this Boston, pretty much Boston hard ass, and Ray Donovan, and
Boston.
He might as well be a mobster, an LA mobster from Boston, and it's really good. Jon Voight's in it too, and he's always fantastic.
I would just like to point out that there's a fat guy on a dirt bike outside.
Oh, good.
You can hear him. There he goes.
Me.
He was a really fat guy on a dirt bike. Like he was like comically fat.
Speaking of fat guys on dirt bikes, me and Brandy were driving through Clarksville yesterday, and we saw this fucking fat Santa-looking motherfucker. He had to be at least 600 pounds, driving a tri-wheel motorcycle that was bigger than a fucking car. Like this, it was like the size of a truck.
Had to have a specially built motorcycle for your fat ass.
Like you said, it was the 600-pound guy driving a tri-wheel motorcycle, and the motorcycle was literally as big as like a Ford F-150. And he was just Mad Maxing down the fucking highway with goggles
Fat
on.
Maxing?
Yeah, me and Brady were like, who the fuck was that?
Santa Claus in the off-season.
Yeah. So for those of you that heard that door knocking, we just had DeHart just show up like fucking a Pee Wee Herman guest or somebody. Just come in here.
Knocking on my door!
He's like one of the creepy neighbors from Mr. Rogers, except not a puppet. Or is he?
Could be a puppet.
So I would like to think I'm one of those Pinocchio type puppets.
I got you. With the strings are the ones that just get really long noses when you lie.
A sentient puppet that's no doubt bound for murder.
Oh, okay. So
bound for murder.
So you're basically a gelfling from the Dark Crystal.
Gelfling?
Yeah, like those things creep me out just because they're so like wooden looking.
They are a little creepy looking.
Oh yeah, and that's supposed to be like the realistic part of the movie is how like real the gelflings look.
The midgets in the suits from a distance were more realistic.
Yeah, they just look
gelfling
like
suits.
They just like wooden deer people. But yeah, we're talking about things that we've been watching. I'm talking about Ray Donovan and John Voight. What about you? Anything interesting lately?
I've watched a shitload of stuff since the last time we recorded, but
anything
the interesting stuff has all been Korean. Because I watched I Saw the Devil, which is fucking brutal as shit. And
I don't think I've seen that.
The Man from Nowhere.
Yeah, I wanted to watch it and fell asleep.
Is that the one where the girl gets her head blown off in the beginning, or something like that?
Yeah, a guy's wife gets murdered in the beginning.
Oh no! I'm thinking of House of the Devil. House of the Devil.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I actually want to see I Saw the Devil. I've heard good things about it. It's the form fun, but and we just watched Maniac, the remake of Maniac with Elijah Wood, who I read in a magazine. He said it was the weirdest role he's ever played, which is crazy because in Sin City, he's like cannibalistic head collector.
Yeah. But I mean, this is definitely, and if you've never seen the movie Maniac, last I checked it was on Netflix, but it's been quite a while ago.
Wait, is that the shitty movie where the voices in his head are the ones telling him not to kill people? And he hangs out with like these dummies?
Yeah, mannequins and stuff.
Mannequins. Yeah.
Well,
that is fucking... That is so fucking crazy. That is out of this world insane.
Yeah.
The voices in his head are the same one.
Well, there's more than one. There are multiples. Like, he has voices in his head, which he has, like, his mom, and then he has multiple others. And it was like that in the original as well, where, like, there were people telling him to kill people in his head, and then he pretended like he was normal, and then he was just stapling fucking scalps to mannequins and shit.
There's a lot of mouth breathing in the movie.
Yeah, why would you mouth breathe in your internal fucking dialogue? He's mouth breathing in his brain.
Well, when you're that crazy.
Yeah. It was pretty brutal, though. The gore was excellent in it. Like, I didn't really care for the movie that much just because it was kind of boring and shitty, but... I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't...
It was a remake.
It's nothing I will ever watch again, ever.
Yeah. You'll probably go back and watch the original so you can compare the two. That and Tom Savini's in it.
Yeah,
and his face explodes.
Yeah, that may be possible.
Yeah.
The butcher knife sideways into the mouth was cool.
Yeah.
Like
there was some really good gore in the original one, too. Like Tom Savini, like the head explosion scene where he like, in the movie, he gets shot in the face with a shotgun and his head explodes. And then there's a scene where, like, you know, at the end when the mannequins come to life and kill him in his dream or whatever. And that happens in the original, too, but they pull his head off. And that's one of Tom Savini's, like, if you ever see clips of Tom Savini's work, that's one of the ones that you'll see is that head being pulled off.
Oh, okay. Kind of like in Day of the Dead, where the dude's head gets... And his vocal cords.
Choke on him.
I'm talking about the guy with the vocal cords are stretching.
That's it. That's from Maniac.
Oh, I thought that was
Day of the Dead. They rip him open and tear him in half while he's screaming.
I think somebody also died that way in Day of the Dead.
Yeah, Day of the Dead. Because their vocal cords are like, ah, and then they snap.
Yeah, the same thing happens in Maniac.
Gotcha. Yeah, they there was a cool brutal butcher knife like
meat cleaver in the mouth, like Glasgow smiled him in the fucking face.
Yeah, like halfway into his skull type shit.
You know that Koreans are doing that. That's like a common thing. It's like something they're getting a plastic surgery for on purpose. They go smile lipped, or they get like a little Joker thing. They get cut a little bit on the edge of their mouths.
Stop it. Stop it.
They're
Korea.
fucking Korean. Like,
I'm done.
DeHart is falling way too much in love with Korean people. Like, he's watching their
No,
movies,
this
he's
is
like,
a
now I'm going to
coincidence.
research the
Yeah.
entire society.
Next time we see him, he's gonna have a crazy smile cut
Right,
into his mouth.
and he's going to take duct tape and tape his eyes.
Big
slide
bucket
it.
of fucking Hitler chicken.
Hitler chicken.
Or was that Thailand? I don't know. Thailand? Or something?
I think that might have been Thailand. I don't remember.
Awful. Well, we'll go ahead and dive into the movies we're doing today. This is our 99th episode. We have one more. Next episode is episode 100. And we still don't know what the fuck we're going to do. So we've dabbled around in ideas like our top 5 or 10 favorite and most hated movies. We've talked about possibly a plethora of actors that have acted in over 100 movies.
I had an idea the other day that I thought would be a really good episode. There's a movie on Netflix that was just released in 2012 that they made in sometime in the 80s, and it was like shelved because it's kind of a shitbag movie, but it's funny because of it. Like it's called The Miami Connection.
I think I know what you're talking about.
And it's a rock band who has songs about Taekwondo because they're all Taekwondo experts.
I want nothing to do with it.
And you can match that with the unreleased version of Fantastic Four, the Roger Corman production of it.
Oh my god.
It's on Netflix. You can watch it for free.
Why? Why?
Yeah, why would you want to do that?
Because they're funny.
Well, yeah, but we have to make this. We have to make this episode.
We haven't made this one has to be even more fucking awful than anything we've ever
Yeah.
done. 100 times more awful.
But we will. I'll definitely keep that on the burner for our post 100 episodes.
It'd be 101. Be like, DeHart told us to watch this crap. Fuck him.
Because there's actually quite a few movies that you've watched and brought up that I want to do for the podcast. Like, for instance, the Harvey Keitel robot one. Or the space...
Saturn
3.
Saturn 3.
Saturn 3, yeah, fucking awful. Well, anyway, we're diving back into the late 80s, early 90s for Robocop and Robocop 2. And Mark can get his giant Peter Weller boner on.
Steven is acting so sad about this.
I just don't give a shit about Peter Weller or the Robocop movies. I don't give a shit about them. They're not good. Peter Weller is a shitty fucking actor unless it's a sleazy weasel. And I'm just done. I'm done. Like, and that's why I felt during Screamers too, is because you have this. It's like taking Tom Hiddleston now, who is literally only known for being a sleazy, smarmy fuck from the Avengers and all these Marvel movies, playing Loki, and putting him into a protagonist role and having you go, oh yeah, he's a pretty good protagonist, except he's not, because he's just still a sleazy motherfucker who pretends to be a protagonist. Because the whole time you're thinking, what's he up to? He's up to something.
He's doing some shit. Some shit.
Yeah.
Like, what, he's going to be... he's playing The Crow in the remake of The Crow that they're doing.
I know. And I'm not for a remake of The Crow, but I could see him being in the original Crow. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it was really weird to pick...
I don't know.
But I mean, if you ever read the original Crow comic book, it's straight up 80s as fuck.
Good.
Like, the fact that they made it in the 90s, they were like, okay, we're not going to give the Eric Draven character teased Nikki Sixx hair. You know... And Brandon Lee was good for the role for the time period.
Speaking of comic books, I actually did come across some Frank Miller Robocop comics the other day.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know he had a run on Robocop.
Yeah, I think he was like a producer or something and a writer for Robocop 3. Because I think he was writing the comics at around that time.
Terrible.
Because, yeah, for some reason, like, Frank Miller has always thought I'm too good for comic books and I should do movies. And Sin City actually was delayed for a long time because Frank Miller was a director of one of the scenes in Sin City. And he wasn't a part of the Directors Guild, and they wouldn't let him become part of the Directors Guild, so they had to shelf the movie for a while. And then, who was it that directed the whole thing? I can't remember. Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
He was like, no, fuck you, we're putting it out anyway. So, I mean, there were a lot of things, like they said, they were going to release it straight to DVD and shit like that, but... At the time, like...
That would have been the dumbest fucking move ever.
Right. It was a fantastic movie, and because Hollywood wants their fucking money, you fucking union cocksuckers. Yeah. You know? And for no other reason that they wanted his fucking money. And he wasn't part of the Writers Guild either. You're not part of the Writers Guild, you can't write.
Well, now that Mark's ranted, we'll go ahead and talk about Roblowcop.
Robocop.
From 1987, directed by Paul Verhoeven, who also directed Total Recall, Starship Troopers.
Those were the
he did Basic Instinct. It's not sci-fi, but I know he did one other one. That was
Hollow Man.
Oh, that's right, Hollow Man with Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, I think he's been out of the sci-fi stuff for a while. I think he's back in Deutschland or the Netherlands.
Yeah. And we've actually podcasted Total Recall and Starship Troopers, so we're pretty familiar with this director. But this is I
don't think Steven should talk about this movie anymore.
Yeah,
because no one's going to listen.
You're completely biased.
Yeah,
I'm not
totally
biased.
biased.
No, because I love Kurtwood Smith in this movie. Kurtwood Smith plays the villain, and in my opinion, he fucking makes the movie. Like he's
great.
His liners, and the thing is you never see Kurtwood Smith in fucking anything except for this and that '70s show. And he's pretty much the villain of that '70s show.
Yeah. His lines in this movie are fantastic. He's a good villain because he just kind of sleazy looking. He's a fucking dick, and he says fucked up shit.
Oh, yeah. And let's talk about the plot a little bit. It's Detroit, and I'm not sure what year it is.
It's the future.
It's probably now.
Okay.
Nowish.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, Detroit is falling apart as we speak.
Yeah,
so
and they're building
expect
Robocop
Peter
statues.
Weller's, yeah.
But, like... So you have this police force that's completely overrun, and like they're wanting to strike and shit. And Peter Weller's Weasley looking ass walks in there, and he's new on the force, and
he's a transfer from a better priest. It has the beginning of the movie is the basic subpar plot of every cop movie from the 80s
and buddy cop.
Yeah, it's straight up like the rough and tough fucking original I'm from this precinct and you don't know shit about this part of town, pal.
Yeah.
And then Peter Weller comes in going, I'm the cool cop from this town where we write people tickets and shit.
Yeah.
For jaywalking.
And so he basically gets called out to a bank robbery and follows all the bank robbers with his partner, who's this chick. I don't even know what her name is. I think it's Nancy Allen.
Ever been in anything ever.
Yeah.
And she's ugly as fuck and just the worst fucking choice ever for a lead female role.
Yeah.
I think
besides Shelley
Duvall. I think she was in the Robocop TV show.
Ugh, god damn it.
But so
which I agree should exist.
She gets apprehended by the bad guys, and Peter Weller basically gets surrounded by them, and there's really nothing that he can do
other than get shot for an hour.
Yeah, for a fucking. And you said in the unrated version, he gets this extended scene is like longer, but he literally gets blown away with shotguns for like 12 minutes.
The first thing they did was like they pistol whipped the shit out of him or something, and he's like laying there, and then Red Foreman from that '70s show blows his arm off.
Yeah, well, right before
his hand.
Yeah, right before he says that, he does like a little radar thing.
Yeah.
See, I got this problem. Cops don't like me, so I don't like cops.
And there goes Peter Weller's fucking entire hand.
Yeah, just from below the wrist down, just gone.
And I don't know if you heard fucking like Count Dracula in the background laughing.
Just laughing.
But I fucking hate that guy. Like right after that is this ugly black dude with a beard and like camo pants on.
Oh yeah.
And right after he catches his partner, he like says some kind of joke and just immediately laughs at his own joke, and it's the most obnoxious laugh ever.
Well, guys, the other one was upstairs. She was sweet. I took her out.
It's not even really a joke.
No, it's not at all. It's like you have obviously never acted once in your entire life, ever.
Well, they're on drugs, man. This is the 80s, man. We didn't know how people on drugs act.
I really don't understand how Steven can't love this movie, considering that it's everything the 80s has to offer in a movie.
Yes.
It is so 80s. It's robots.
I know.
It's
and I love robots.
Blood and guts everywhere.
Yes, so
shitty
much.
acting and stereotypical villains.
I don't know what it is about
There's
it.
multiple levels of villain.
I think
I think the reason he hates it is because of Evan's stupid fucking ass saying that it's better than Demolition Man, so he immediately hated Robocop more.
That's not true, because even when I was younger, I always compared to Terminator. It was always either Terminator or Robocop for me, and I was always a Terminator guy.
Well, probably because the video game Terminator versus Robocop.
Right, and there was a comic book
Robocop
series
versus
too,
Terminator.
Robocop versus Terminator.
I recall that. I don't remember even playing it.
It was bad.
You were Robocop in the game.
You were
though, weren't you?
Robocop, but for some reason you could jump.
Oh, well, it's completely impossible because Robocop just walks around like he has 4 corn cobs up his ass the entire movie. Like, and Mark was telling me that like he had to do a bunch of robotic moves and stuff. And I actually watched this video of Peter Weller showing people how he did the Robocop moves because the suit was so restrictive that he couldn't do anything. But like when you watch it from far away in the movie, like from the scene panned out, it literally looks like he has shit shoved in his ass. Like he's just like,
Get it out,
like
out,
timidly
get it out,
walking and shit like that. Like as timid as a giant robot man can walk. But yeah, and so they shoot him in the head and kill.
Well,
Murphy.
after they kill him they shoot him 40 more times before that from every type of gun possible.
Yeah.
But there were a couple of things that made me think, okay, maybe this is why he lived. They shot him in the legs first, and then they shot him in the chest and the stomach and stuff, and he was wearing body armor. So maybe not all of that went through. But then they blew his whole fucking arm off. Like all of it. After his hand, and then his whole arm fell the fuck off.
Yeah.
And then finally they shoot him in the head and he dies.
Yeah.
And it was such a brutal cut. Like the scene was so brutal they had to cut it or it was going to get an X rating.
Yeah.
So then a few years ago when they released the 20th anniversary Robocop on DVD, they had the extended cut scene in it.
I've got to see it.
And they shoot him for like another minute and a half.
It was just ridiculous.
It's just so fucking brutal.
Yeah. Oh, the whole movie is extremely brutal.
I can't think of anything from that same time period as brutal as this.
I think that's part of the reason why it got so big. Like, what about the part, like, because of course the plot is he dies, so they take him and Weasley fuck Miguel Ferrer, or whatever his name is. It's always Weasley fucking everything, is trying to get ahead at this company called OCP, which owns everything and owns the cops and all that shit. And he's got this robotics plan, so he takes Murphy, Peter Weller's dead body, and plugs it into this Robocop, and they make Robocop.
And let's not forget to mention the previous Robocop that they had made.
Oh, yeah.
And did a prototype of and bring into the office.
ED-208 or
something.
ED-209.
And basically they have a guy point a gun at it, and then it malfunctions while making lion roar sounds and screaming.
You now have 15 seconds to comply. You are in direct violation of Penal Code 113, Section 9.
And the guy is totally complying, throwing his fucking gun down, and then then just gets blown the fuck away, and nobody gives a shit.
Right through a fucking window.
Nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah, apparently in the future people can die in a boardroom, and they're like, well, it's Tuesday.
Well, this is Dick Jones.
Yeah, Dick Jones.
Dick Jones is like the top level villain.
Yeah. God. And it was funny because like the Ed 209 robot, at the beginning he's doing like the lion roars and stuff. What about when Robocop's fighting him later on, and Ed 209 can't walk downstairs, and he falls down the stairs and gets on his back and starts making the screeching noises, like it sounds like a baby bird being hit with a hammer.
Well, it sounds kind of like a stuck pig.
Yeah, it's
a
really
squealing
terrible.
pig.
It was really stupid. Like, why would a robot ever make animal noises?
It wouldn't.
There was some really, really stupid, way over the top, even for 1987 shit in this movie.
Yeah, well, I think the idea was it was supposed to be cheaply made. Because he didn't care how well it worked. He just wanted to sell it to the government for like wars. And how many times in a war zone are you going to be walking downstairs? They'll just be sent into the desert.
Yeah, I was saying and like war zones, but if any kind of tactical.
Yeah, it was a stupid choice for cities because cities have shit loads of stairs.
Yeah. As do most other things,
except the desert.
It's like
and the ocean. That's it.
Well, this thing can't even step up into a vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, granted, it is the size of a van. It's huge.
Yeah, it'll get there when it gets there. It's on foot.
Yeah,
it can make it.
And it goes.
There's no stairs.
It goes 1 mile per hour.
Yeah, everything in that's weight for that 1 mile is fucked.
Yeah.
So, of course, Robocop becomes Robocop, the best cop ever, and they start talking about how, like, all these other cops are overwhelmed with the amount of crime in Detroit. So, Robocop's cleaning up the streets, Then Robocop starts to remember that he used to be a person, and shit starts going bad, and they feed him baby food, which apparently is what robots eat.
Well, it's for the biological stuff that's still left.
His face, which is his face.
Which is his ugly face,
he
too.
He still has a lot of his internal organs.
See, that bothered me, too.
That
bothered me, too, was his face. Like,
Yeah,
it was so ugly. It was creepy. It's even
he
creepier.
has a creepy face on his own.
It's even creepier in Robocop 2 when it's, like...
Oh, when
fake
they do the animatronic
Peter Weller face.
Oh, yeah, it looks like a poor action figure that moves. It was like a bad rubber toy, like a puppet.
Yeah, we'll definitely get there, but Peter Weller, like you said, he's creepy looking anyway.
Yeah, he has a very unique look.
Let's rip off his hair and put little screws in the side of his head, and then just like plaster it to the front of a robot.
One thing that I loved about it was like at the end of the movie, after he's already remembered that he's Alex Murphy and he's being more human and stuff, and he's trying to take off his Robocop helmet, which is drilled into his head. Like when he puts the drill in and he starts like unscrewing the drills or the screws, they're like 40 inches long.
Yeah.
Like how big is his fucking head? How deep is it?
Well, and then of course Kurtwood Smith fucks with Miguel Ferrer.
Oh yeah.
And while Miguel Ferrer is just swimming in bitches and coke.
And coke, yeah. It was the 80s. He was doing what people in the 80s.
Yeah.
Cocaine and hookers.
Yeah, and he's messing around with hookers, and Kurtwood Smith just busts into his apartment and is like,
Bitches leave.
Everybody knows that line, and I'd buy that for $1. You know, that bitches leave.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious hearing Red Foreman cuss. Like when RoboCop arrests him, he's like, "Just give me my fucking phone call."
He spits. He spits
blood everywhere. Dumbass.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my foot up RoboCop's ass. Then he'll do the dishes.
Oh, Toxic Waste Man. When the one dude gets like thrown into the toxic waste gunk and he gets all slimy looking and gross,
Oh, yeah,
they hit him with a
fucking
car.
dissolving.
Yeah,
He's
they
like-
hit him with a car and he explodes like a water.
Yeah,
That's great.
like fucking Dollar Tree tar man.
It was so gross, but it was so cool. They hit him with a car and he exploded. It just looked like a jizz-filled water balloon.
Yeah, and by that time, you really want these guys to all fucking die.
Yeah.
And they do.
Yeah, they fucking do. The end is just pure chaos.
Oh yeah, brutal.
The end is just everybody exploding and just being annihilated.
Girders being dropped.
Yeah.
And fucking Kurtwood Smith gets stabbed in the neck by RoboCop's USB drive, which a USB drive in the 80s was just
A spike.
like a 14-inch fucking ice pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He stabs him in the neck and his neck explodes. Like it shoots blood like 40 feet in the air.
Yeah, I was just like Assassin's Creed RoboCop edition.
Yeah. Just explode.
Because that's how RoboCop is just totally stealthy. Just imagine a mashup of those two games. Like put like a hood over RoboCop and like he has his little spike thing.
Oh god.
And he's like walking behind people.
Trying to climb stuff and he can't do it.
People are like, "Who killed this guy?" And then you just see like metal feet.
Yeah, well, they would be like fucking footprints, like 3 inches fucking deep. Crap.
Yeah, we should.
Fucking robot.
We should be getting paid for this idea.
What about how poor RoboCop's suit looked if it wasn't from a distance? Like when it got up close to him, you could tell it was just airbrushed plastic.
Yeah.
Well-
Like if they tried to make it look metallic.
Well, really, you can see that in like the black parts.
Yeah, and the joints and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Those are a bit poor, but you know.
A bit.
Bit.
Hey, dude, what the fuck are you gonna do?
I mean, it is the 80s. You know, you can't expect pure gold at this
I know,
point.
and it really wasn't that big of a budgeted film. I don't think.
They probably spent it all on fucking blood.
Yeah, the budget was actually $13 million.
1987. Look at
Yeah.
the first Terminator movie. See what the budget for that was, because it was low budget too. But it also had Stan Winston,
That's true. $6,400,000.
and that was only 3 years before.
Yeah, it was not nearly as graphic.
Or successful.
Oh yeah, the first Terminator actually didn't do all that well.
Right.
It was-
Well, no, I just mean the Terminator series in general blew RoboCop series out of the water as far as success.
Well,
And they're
I think
still
that's the
fucking
second
making.
one.
Well, and the third.
Yeah.
Well,
The,
I'm not
dude,
gonna watch the third.
the RoboCop movie really was. It was just like, oh, let's make a a welfare version of Terminator. That's really what they were jumping on at that time. It didn't work out too well in that aspect, but I still love RoboCop. I really do. I loved it as a kid. There were RoboCop toys. There was a fucking RoboCop TV show.
Oh yeah, I had a
everything.
shitload of RoboCop toys.
I even met RoboCop once at the Louisville Science Center.
Was it actually Peter Weller?
No, it was just some
guy
dude
in
in
the
his shit.
suit.
And his
Probably the guy
helmet
from
was
the
too big
Canadian-
and it wobbled on his fucking head. Looked like he was wearing a poor football helmet.
Wait, you probably met the guy from the Canadian TV show, RoboCop.
It was just some dude dressed in a RoboCop
Because
suit.
I think he was actually the same guy who took over for the movie.
The third one, yeah, because Peter Weller didn't do the third one.
I'm
Or any
not
of the
sure
sci-fi
about that.
miniseries.
But yeah, there was a TV series that they've cut into different movies that are on Netflix.
Yeah.
And those are god awful.
Mm-hmm.
They're
They're unwatchable.
fucking
I tried
worst.
to watch one. It's
Yeah.
fucking poor.
I watched the one with where the villain was called the Bone Machine.
The what?
The Bone Machine.
The Bone
The
Machine.
Bone Machine.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
So then it was like a it was like a superhero show where like RoboCop was fighting other super Robo bad guys. God damn it, just horrible.
Yeah.
But the movie is great, and the guy that replaced him for the Canadian TV show is probably like a foot shorter. He's so small.
Well, Peter Weller's actually a fairly tall guy. He's not tiny.
He's skeezy as fuck though.
Yeah, I do have to agree with you on this. I don't think he's a very good protagonist.
No, I mean
I think as RoboCop it wasn't bad because he was just in a robot suit the whole time, and he's kind of a dry actor.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that fit. And everything else we see him in, he's always a sleazy fuck. Like that season of Dexter he was in, he was a sleazy fuck. He's a sleazy fuck in Sons of Anarchy now because he's in the new season of that. Oh, and he did voice Old Man Batman in The Dark Knight Returns.
He was alright in Leviathan, which was the thing underwater.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah.
and I actually liked Leviathan. I thought it was pretty good.
Evil Lynn was in that movie.
I like that it's what coined the phrase "goddamn Dracula," where the guy who plays Winston, Ernie Hudson. Ernie Hudson goes, "I wasn't expecting to be down here with a goddamn Dracula."
Goddamn Dracula!
So fucking good. And of course, Screamers. I mean, Peter Weller was just an asshole in Screamers. Like, because I decided that was a movie he didn't even give a shit about. Like, he was just like,
Yeah.
I have a feeling that Peter Weller is probably an asshole in real life. Like, if you went to go talk to him, be like, "Hey, are you Pete? Fuck off."
yeah.
Well, I hope you die soon, you old fuck. You know?
At least he doesn't
Look at
have,
how stupid he
at least
looks.
he doesn't have a mullet anymore.
Yeah, but look at the chick next to him looks more like a man than he does, and he's manly looking.
He was in Star Trek, the new Star Trek, and he was pretty cool in that.
He's been popping up a lot here lately. Like, he didn't really seem to be around much in
doing
the
a lot of TV shows,
90s and 2000s much, but here lately, bam, just Peter Weller everywhere.
Yeah.
Probably because they're remaking RoboCop and he's pissed. I think he should have
should
just
be.
Why
walked
didn't
on
they
the
just
set.
ask? Why didn't they just have him do it? I don't understand that. Like, there's no sense. I would understand
Because he's like 67 years
I'm
old.
saying I would understand him not being the Murphy part, but why not just put him in the fucking RoboCop?
Yeah,
suit?
I mean, they could very well have him in a cameo.
Yeah, it was just I don't know. Let's go ahead and move on to RoboCop 2. It's from 1990.
RoboCop boo.
Yeah, more.
Yeah, I agree with you on this one, that this one is bullshit.
Directed by Irvin Kershner, who actually directed The Empire Strikes Back, which is regarded as the best Star Wars movie ever made. And that
What
was
the fuck happened to him?
Yeah.
That's basically what you have to say.
I'm only doing the second movie of trilogy.
Right, yeah, that's what he is.
That's
I'm the
his
sequel guy.
strategy.
Maybe
Well-
that's what they decided. They're like, how can we make the sequel to RoboCop better? Call the Empire Strikes Back guy.
Yeah.
Get him here.
And he did Never Say Never Again, which was a Bond film with
Yeah.
Sean Connery. I think that was the majority
Sean
of
Connery.
his good stuff. But
Yeah, and then he died.
yeah, he died like 3 years ago.
Old. Very old.
Peter Weller, of course, is back for
RoboCop.
RoboCop 2.
Tom Noonan is the villain.
Tom Noonan from Last Action Hero, as well as the Monster
Ripper,
Squad.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is a... Gosh, if Philip were here, he'd be going, boy.
Yep.
Yeah, he was also the bad guy in House of the Devil.
Oh yeah, he was.
He's real weird looking.
He's
And I
like-
think he
Yeah.
dies in every fucking movie he's in.
Yep. He didn't die in Monster Squad. He just got sucked back into purgatory or wherever the fuck they
Oh,
went.
Yeah,
that's good
he
at
got.
that.
I mean, he got sucked into purgatory realm. What the fuck else is he going to do in there?
You're
I
not
mean, he's got that
existing
teddy
on Earth, you're
bear.
dead.
Yeah,
Yeah, and Robocop 2 is just a bucket of asshole.
Yeah.
Like
Max Headroom CGI.
I couldn't even take I couldn't even take like the first 5 minutes of the movie where like breaking into this like secret henchman hideout.
Oh, where they're making that nuke drug?
Yeah, they're making the nuke drug or whatever, and he's like sneaking behind he's like sneaking behind. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he's literally a foot behind these two fuckers, and he's just walking behind them, and you know it's just like. And it's like, oh, what was that noise? I'm not gonna look behind me.
Do you hear what sounds like a 7-foot-tall vibrator? No?
This one is
fuck it. Let's keep doing drugs
from the beginning.
Yeah,
immediately.
Immediately. The dude looks out the window. It makes no fucking sense because he hears a knock on the door, and he looks out the visor, and there's nothing there. And then a fist just comes through the middle of the door. Like, he had to have been standing there.
How did Robocop move out of the way of the little thing and then move back into the way without making any noise?
Yeah. So I'm, like, envisioning Robocop, like, ducked underneath the visor and going, "You'll never see me." Just so fucking awful, man.
Yeah, this one's really bad. Well, the plot of it is really stupid. It's just
It's
Robocop continuing to be Robocop.
Yeah.
And there's Tom Noonan selling people drugs pretending like he's Jesus.
Yeah.
And then there's a little fuck of a kid that I'm glad he's dead.
Yeah, the kid that looks like, yeah.
Who is giant fucking ears and shooting everybody with machine guns. He's a cunt.
Yeah. He looks like the fucking goofy guy from Mad Magazine.
Oh, yeah, he kind of does.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but this one, the premise is just completely fucking stupid.
All of it's stupid.
Yeah.
They take the brain out of a drug dealer, and they put it into a giant robot, and they feed it drugs. And it's like, okay, you're going to be the new Robocop, and we're going to give you drugs in return.
Yeah.
How is this supposed to fucking work?
What I don't understand is like
the 80s, man. The 80s. Drugs.
I love how they got him ready. Like he ends up most of the way dead, and this lady comes in there and flips off his life support, and he dies.
Right.
And then they yank his brain out and his eyeballs because he needed those. You know?
Yeah.
Because he needed his his eyeballs, his brain, and his spinal.
Well, they didn't even use the eyeballs for the robot.
No, they didn't. Exactly.
They're just sitting in a jar.
They're in there in the jar and just left it, and he could see. Because they kept him alive somehow. It looked like Mother Brain from Metroid.
Yeah.
Oh, and what's even worse than that is his fucking horrible Lawnmower Man CGI face.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like fucking Max Headroom, dude. It was
God.
awful. I mean, it looked like Tom Noonan would look if you put him in a Nintendo game.
But before that happened, Tom Noonan and his crew fucking ripped apart Robocop.
Oh, yeah, they salvaged it, basically.
Yeah, and it's shitty animatronic Peter Weller face, and it's the fucking worst.
It's hilarious.
The only
it's
thing,
so bad.
The
It's
only
funny.
thing uglier than Peter Weller is animatronic Peter Weller, and he keeps making those weird like sounds.
They're just like Tim Curry from Legend,
Yeah, and then like
and his legs twitching.
And he's stalking the shit out of his ex-wife.
He's a cop. He knows he can't do that.
I know. He's like watching her and shit like that, and
Who's
so
gonna tell him no?
Yeah, but how does that work? He's breaking the law by stalking her.
Yeah,
He can't break the law. That's his programming.
Plot
Even though
hole.
he's plot hole. I mean, minus the
it's
fact
it's only illegal if she files a complaint.
she did.
yeah,
She already had.
I forgot
They
about
said they
that.
taled about that. It was like she's filed a complaint.
Lawsuits.
She filed a suit
But
against the
technically, he
state or
shouldn't be able to
something.
do it at all. It's
Yeah.
like he would think about it, and then he'd go, "Arr."
Well, they changed his programming. Yeah, like in the original, or in Robocop 2, when he points the gun at the kid who has been shooting with a machine gun, he can't shoot the fucking kid.
Yeah, and the kid shoots him in the fucking head.
Yeah. And messes up his fucking program and makes him all retarded for a minute.
Yeah, but what about that lawyer who's just an extreme dickhead? Whenever,
Oh,
like Peter Weller's just sitting there and he's got this look on his face.
the Peter Weller look.
It's like this. Okay, the lawyer says this to him.
Do you think you could ever be a husband to her? I mean, what can you offer her? Companionship? Love? A man's love?
And he's like pursed lipped, and he's like, he's just like, yes. It's like,
I got Robocop.
and then he just kind of
I
looks
will
down.
jackhammer you.
He just kind of looks down and he's just like, no.
Pouty faced Robocop. Little oily tears forming.
And so he starts thinking that he's Murphy again, when obviously he's just Murphy's half face and some organs or whatever. And
Liver too.
They fucking reprogram him.
And he's happy Robocop.
And he's just like...
It's like Robocop if he got a blowjob.
Yeah. Pleasant Robocop.
How you feeling, Murphy?
I'm just fine, Warren. Thank you for asking.
Let's get you downstairs. I want to see what those amateurs at OCP screwed up.
Pity. It's a beautiful morning. Shame to waste it.
I love it when he's in the car with his partner or whatever, and he looks out the window, and it's obviously broad fucking daylight. And he's like, the moon is beautiful tonight.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's daylight. Huh. It's the thought that counts. That's my favorite part, because it's just the dumbest shit ever. They basically turned him into a stone
Hippie.
robot.
He's a hippie. And obviously there's a perfect example of what it sounds like when he walks.
Yeah.
So there's no sneaking up on shit when you're Robocop, because he's just like...
He's selectively sneaky, and it made no sense. All of a sudden, he made no noise.
He's
He
just
didn't want to make
tiptoeing.
noise.
You know what? What they should have done for the third one, instead of giving him a fucking jetpack, they should have gave him like little bitty wheels that would pop out every,
Or
if you
moccasins.
need to sneak, little tiny wheels that if he need to sneak around, he could just.
No, because they
You just hear,
need
like, a
grease
little
on him.
squeaking.
And he's got a little bike horn.
Because he wouldn't move, he'd have like little jets that pushed him along, so
Yeah.
he'd still make noise no matter what.
That's why I said,
Unless he'd have to get a push start from somebody.
Or maybe they could have added one of those siren lights on top of his head.
Ooh, it would have to pop out. He'd be like Inspector Gadget.
Yeah.
That's basically what he would be.
I'd give him like some really gigantic footy pajamas, or possibly like some soft moccasins, so that it would
Give
make
him
any
footy
noise
pajamas so
when
he
he
can
walks.
just rub his feet on the carpet and shock everybody.
Now that you mention it, are RoboCop and Inspector Gadget the same character?
They
or
really
fucking
are.
what?
Like, I think RoboCop is like the drunken stepdad of Inspector Gadget.
I've always wondered, like, that was always my biggest problem with the Inspector Gadget cartoon growing up, is I never knew if he was a man.
He had a niece.
Like, yeah, he did have a niece, but he never had any love interest or anything. I was just kind of
But also at the same time, like, how was he a robot but still a total fuck up?
Yeah, I don't know. I was always confused about it, and it made me not like it as much.
I always thought of him as just a fucking stupid robot.
Inspector Gadget?
Yeah, because how like there's probably everybody knows some kid who calls somebody their uncle who isn't their uncle.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's just
point.
that guy that hangs around.
Yeah.
My uncle touched my dad's friend.
With his Michael touched me with his go-go gadget fingers. His go-go gadget diddler.
God damn it!
We don't need to go molesting.
Go-go molest. Go-go molest hand.
Go gadget sex offender.
Yeah, I think in the live action Inspector Gadget, it was a real guy who got RoboCopped.
And now,
that was Matthew Broderick.
Yeah. Who would win? RoboCop or Inspector Gadget?
RoboCop.
Yeah. RoboCop would just shoot
No way,
him in the
because
head.
Inspector Gadget would accidentally fuck up and win. That's what would happen. His little dog and his niece would come and make everything okay. And that weird commissioner that would pop out of trash cans in the middle of nowhere. What the fuck?
Dr. Claw.
Okay, who wins between Dr. Claw and Dick Jones?
Are they naked in a pit?
Does Dr. Claw have
why
a
not?
cat?
No cat. No pets. No sentient robots.
What about when that little kid is talking about whenever Tom Noonan dies and the little kid takes over the little drug empire?
Yeah, he's like 12.
Yeah, and the mayor needs money to pay back the robot system place or whatever.
Guess you're in some pretty deep shit.
Well, we need all the help we can get, young man.
Tell you what, put me down for 50 just to make sure.
50 cents, $50. That's cute.
Don't be a queer.
Don't be a queer.
Don't be a queer.
I mean 50 million. Oh, what? Where'd you get that?
This They were so like with Bill and Ted too. They were just so easy to just say queer and faggot and
oh yeah, back then people still didn't care. You know,
yeah.
Gay people aren't real.
So terrible.
Yeah.
Number 2 is the worst piece of shit ever. And you know what?
Have you seen number 3?
Oh yeah, I have, but I've seen it even less than 2.
Number 2 is an Academy Award-winning motherfucker compared to number 3.
And then you have like 4 and 5 or whatever, which are like the sci-fi ones.
Yeah, they were made for sci-fi on the TV show that they turned into a movie. They compressed them into a movie or some shit. Multiple movies.
I'm pretty sure
like 3 of them.
that was a syndicated show from Canada that somebody just bought up the rights to and
fuck you, Canada,
and smashed them.
I think Sci-Fi did it. I think it aired on.
I think it was Sci-Fi too. I remember it coming on.
It was in the mid-90s.
Before like Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, son. Ron Perlman.
Yeah.
Ron Perlman just being ugly.
Yeah, that's what it is, basically. And Linda Hamilton also being ugly.
Peter Weller, not as ugly as
Ron Perlman?
Yeah.
Well, because Ron Perlman's the missing link between ape and man.
Why is no one studying him?
Yeah. I mean, he's the Neanderthal. I mean, he's the missing link.
Right, he pretty much is like
him and Luis Guzman.
Ooh, can you imagine if they fucked and had a baby? We would de-evolve. Like, we would go back a step, like, fuck, this thing's building fires inside of the womb. Oh, Krog want wheel.
Yeah, dude, Luis Guzman is like the ugliest Neanderthal. Like I can look at him. He doesn't even need to be funny. Like, I can look at him for hours and laugh.
Oh my god.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
What about how awesome he was in The Last Stand when he had the Conan sword?
Yeah.
And that giant cowboy hat that didn't fit his huge forehead?
Yeah, he had a mace.
Stuck.
He had a fucking spiked mace, too. This movie sucks. And to go along with this, there's a fucking remake getting ready to come out.
Yeah. Like
and it looks like
next
balls.
year or something.
And you know what?
Didn't they just remake it, though?
No.
No.
I thought they did.
The remake comes out.
Colin Farrell.
No,
that was Total Recall.
Oh.
That was Total Recall.
See, they throw these remakes around so much.
They're just
getting ready to remake.
Running together.
They're getting ready to release Robocop. And I watched the previews, and it had the silver suit Robocop in it. And I was like, oh, that's kind of better, because the last I had seen prototype pictures of it, it was all black. And then the preview, which the movie has Michael Keaton in it, and it has
for no reason really
Samuel L. Jackson,
Gary Oldman,
all 3 in this movie.
Why?
Yeah, exactly. And then one of them, Michael Keaton's just like, it's a little too shiny. Let's make it tactical. And then they paint it fucking black and with a red visor. And I'm like, no. I was like, I hated the first movie. I didn't hate it, but I was like, I didn't really like the first movie. I'm sure as fuck not gonna like this one. And then it's way more emotional. Like in the preview, he's like got a relationship with his wife and son still, and all sorts of bullshit. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna do myself a favor and not watch this movie ever, and just watch Dredd over and over again. Because it's
really surprised about Dredd. I watched that too.
Yeah,
it's really good.
It is good. I was skeptical, but
yeah.
Well, obviously, if you watch the one from the '90s, you'd be skeptical about anything with the name Dredd on it from that point on.
Would you say you almost dreaded watching Dredd?
Yeah, I thought it would be dreadful.
You're fired. There will not be an episode 100. Sorry to say, everyone just fired Steven.
You can't fire me.
I quit.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
I work for Dick Jones. Dick Jones runs OCP. OCP runs the cops.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's absolutely no reason to ever watch Robocop 2 because we're grasping for shit to talk about.
Yeah.
We're talking about Robocop 1.
Robocop 2 is genuinely just a bad movie.
It's
awful. Robocop 2 is the first Robocop is just really cheesy and 80s and kind of poor.
I don't think it's even really that cheesy, but you know, I've thought about it a whole lot.
The explosions were pretty decent in the first one, but they turned complete shit in the second one. Like all the special effects, like the electricity in the very beginning. First of all, that like trap thing that holds the guy into the car and just electrocutes him.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Oh, I can't get out of this trap thing." But the trap is made so shittily that you can literally see the clasps just like flapping around and not even closing. And I'm like, why doesn't he just pull that shit apart? I was like, it's clearly coming apart on its own.
Well, sometimes, shit just happens. Like, if you watch Gladiator, there are a couple of instances of this happening. And one scene in Gladiator, like, right after the Emperor dies, it shows Russell Crowe like petting a horse, getting ready to leave, and you see a guy in a pair of jeans walk by. It's just a dude in a pair of blue jeans walked by, like cell phone on his hip and everything. Later on in Gladiator, you know the "Are you not entertained" scene?
Yeah.
There's another dude in jeans there, just hanging out.
Guys, take off your jeans.
Yeah, could you really just not wear pants? That would be better. We could fucking get away with a white T-shirt.
Yeah.
But no, Lord of the Rings and the Fellowship of the Ring, there's a car
in the back,
yeah. Shit makes it by the editors, and they're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Too late.
There was some shit I noticed, and I'll notice like smaller things than that. I guess like sometimes I don't notice the big obvious things, but I'll notice things like in Insidious, like there's like toys that are on a table in one scene, and the next scene they're gone, and the next scene they're there again. Like whenever it clips back and forth with camera angles.
I'm willing to let a lot of that shit go because that's just mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes.
One thing that bothered me was in the Punisher movie. There's this firefight going on. Dude blows up the salad bowl with a shotgun, and salad just flies everywhere. And then the next scene, the bowl is full of salad right next to it. Like somebody was just like, "Oh shit, that salad's gone. Here's your refill, sir."
There's a scene like that in the Batman with Jack Nicholson and Michael Keaton. Do you remember the part where Jack Nicholson is just like, "Bob, gun."
Yeah.
Bob hands him the gun, then he shoots Bob.
Yeah.
If you watch when he shoots Bob, you can tell it's a rubber prop gun because he doesn't pull a trigger, and and it's a revolver. So the hammer has to go back when he shoots it. Hammer doesn't move. There's no bang from the gun. It just makes a noise, and Jack Nicholson recoils his own arm. That's it. It's really poor. And I remember noticing that for the first time, and I was like, what the fuck?
But shit like that is way more excusable from something like Batman, which is like mid-80s.
Yeah,
than
1990.
90. Then something like
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that
which
came
won
out.
$1 million Academy Awards.
Right.
Yeah.
But still,
so did fucking Gladiator.
I have a higher tolerance for fuck ups than I have for like going back to Insidious, where you get the big jump scare where you finally see what the thing looks like, and it's fucking Darth Sidious.
Darth Maul.
Darth Maul.
Yeah.
You named the wrong one.
Darth Sidious. Insidious.
Whatever.
Darth Insidious.
You're fired again!
Might as well be.
Yeah.
And it's like, that completely takes me out of it. You couldn't make it look like anything else.
Well, and that's what me and another buddy of mine were talking about that movie for. I don't know why we're on Insidious again.
Okay.
But the movie would have been way better if it had just stayed like a shadow, like they had, like whenever the mom was describing it, and it was just like pointing at the kid in the shadows, and then she was looking up into the darkness, and like they drew it or whatever, and it was just like blackness with a red face or whatever.
Yeah, if it would have been just completely black when they showed it, that would have been fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was literally the villain in that movie was literally a stereotypical demon. The red face with the horns and the cloven hoof feet and the stupid tail. It looked like Welfare Nightcrawler. It was really bad, but the movie was fun. I liked it. At least they didn't decide to bring him back in the sequel.
Yeah. And then we didn't really talk about the evil robot much in Robocop II.
It's good.
The Tom Noonan robot.
We
brought it up a little bit, but like the CGI is so fucking shitty.
It's Lawnmower Man.
Yeah,
it's awful.
Oh, wait, you're talking about the face?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that too, but just the machine in general. Whenever they're fighting in like that little auditorium thing, and it has like Stretch Armstrong extender arms, it's just like like that, and it punches him through a wall.
I mean, in the first one, ED-209 looked pretty. You could tell it's stop motion, but I love that in comparison to CGI.
The stop motion, that in my opinion, that robot was the best looking thing in Robocop. Like the robot in the 209, is that the one? The first one?
ED-209.
That one looked cool. It looked like it would have been straight out of like Terminator or like any of those 80s, 90s science fiction movies where like Mech Warrior.
Yeah, the
stuff
video
like
game of Terminator had something that looked just like that.
Yeah, like a Mech. Those remember, because that was in Mech when Mech Warrior was like huge.
Yeah,
like came out on Super Nintendo, and then I think came out on PC like the next year. Everybody was like, "Fucking Mech Warrior, fuck!" Because that's how I was when I first played Mech Warrior 2.
Oh god, it was awesome.
Yeah, because that was, you could play online too, like kind of. If you could find somebody else in the world that had like Prodigy or whatever the fuck you used at that point to play online. But that
Did
was
you ever
really
play the
cool.
arcade one? Where like
there's a
there's a visor
virtual
and
thing.
you actually like have to move your head to turn. It's like 360 degrees.
That was the first virtual reality arcade game that I ever played was MechWarrior, and where you're just like and shooting cannons with your arms and walking with your own feet and shit. I thought it was awesome, but that's what that reminded me of, and I thought that was like the coolest part. But then you see this fucking piece of shit in Robocop 2, and you're like, what even is that? Fucking stupid satellite insect head. And
it kind of looked like a real poor version of one of the battle droids from Phantom Menace.
Yeah, but fat. It was like a battle droid that was just ate way too many Twinkies and hoes and shit.
It was built like Mr. Incredible. It had chicken legs and a giant top.
Yeah, and then a teeny head.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you were to graph out Robocop movies, it's just fucking diminishing returns. And completely.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to it. It just straight plunge towards the bottom. But it starts off great, I think.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say great, but to each your own. I agree that I can see why other people really like it. I think it's just my personal biases against Peter Weller and the shittiness of the movie.
I think you just really hate Peter Weller that much.
I don't hate him. I just hate him at that part. And there's certain characters, like him with Sam Neill.
Yeah.
Like there's certain characters that I don't feel should ever play anything but certain types of people. And I can't think of any off the top of my head, but there are other actors that are like that. Whereas I don't think that this person should ever be a protagonist or this person should ever be a hero.
Like Vincent Price, you would never want to be a
No, it's hard for me to see Gary Oldman. Like when Gary Oldman played Sirius Black in the Harry Potter movies, it was really fucking. I loved it because Sirius Black was kind of an anti-hero anyway.
Yeah,
but to see him as somebody that's not a villain kind of bothered me a little bit because he was Dracula and Zorg. And fucking...
the bad guy in The Professional.
And The Professional.
He was awesome in The Professional.
Yeah, I mean, he's in Drexel from True Romance. Mm-hmm. Like, he's always been this son of a bitch. And seeing him as any kind of protagonist, I was just kind of like, no. But, I got used to it. But with Weller, he's just... At least Gary Oldman changes his look so much that you don't even know it's him.
Yeah.
Peter Weller's the ugliest motherfucker in the world.
Dude, he looks like Skeletor now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's awful.
No, the only part that I actually loved about Robocop 2, there was one single part, and I'll talk about it to finish things up. Is the only part I had to stop and go back and rewind and watch again. Was when Robocop was laying on the ground and there were motorcycles driving around him. This third motorcycle that goes past him, he reaches up and grabs the guy off of it. And flings the dude behind him and just like crushes this dude's head and neck onto the fucking pavement. And it's all so fast at him. He's just like
grabs the wheel of the motorcycle and like brings it to a total stop, and the dude flies off the front of the bike. It's hilarious.
And I love that part, and that's the only part of this movie I like. Everything else is garbage.
Everything else, well, fuck this.
Yeah, and fuck it. Fuck this movie. Fuck the remake. Fuck its 9,000 sequels.
Fuck Peter Weller, right?
As a protagonist, fuck Peter Weller.
Okay. What about Buckaroo Banzai?
No. just no. No. But I'm done with Robocop. Do you guys have any finishing words?
I'm done. Oh wait, Dead or Alive, you're coming on me.
Oh yeah. We used to talk about Robocop if it was a gay porn, and we would call it Roblowcop, and we'd take his lines and make them super gay and
super porn.
Yeah, super gay porn. And he said, like, what was it?
Dead or Alive.
Dead or Alive, you're coming on me, or freeze, come back.
Oh, God.
There were some other ones, but I don't remember them. But with that being said, we'll go ahead and wrap things up. I'm Steven the Roast Rosenberg. Our 100th episode coming up. You can find us on Twitter at MPM Podcast. You can find us on Unitedcypher.com, where you can stream all of our stuff and look at awesome pictures from their podcast. You can find us on iTunes, where you can download everything for absolutely free.
Subscribe,
review, and rate.
And fivefingertees.com.
Yes, and also check out Unitedcypher Presents.
And the documentary I just made.
Yep, the documentary you made, and Philip is also working on. You can check out MPM's Facebook. I'm going to put up a link where you can donate for Philip's documentary cause.
I think you'll have like one day. Like by the time you post this, that'll.
Well, it'll still work. You can still donate to for other stuff, not with the making of his documentary.
Oh, okay,
to
cool.
go through.
Okay, I got you then.
What you want to plug your documentary?
Yeah, it's a documentary about the apocalypse that didn't happen. So,
You mean the 3 or 4 that didn't happen?
The most recent big one, the Mayan apocalypse.
Oh, the 2012 one.
Yes, that one.
That's right, because I remember you wanting us to do a podcast over the movie 2012.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck no. Fuck that movie. I'm not watching
I
it
didn't
again.
want you to necessarily do a podcast. I wanted you to be part of the movie.
Gotcha.
And, no help there.
Yeah, I know. Because we're just terrible
no
people.
help from anyone.
Except for Evan, just fucking up everything. And setting traps for you. But with that being said, we'll go ahead and get out of here. And we got Mark the Shark Hinton.
Yep.
And special guest from Unitedcypher Presents, DeHart.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye. Detroit, the near future. Officer Alex J. Murphy and his partner Ann Lewis fight to rid the decaying city of the criminal element which infests it. After being mortally wounded in the line of duty, Officer Murphy is outfitted by OCP with bulletproof titanium robotic parts and with computer-enhanced motor and sensory capabilities. He has become the ultimate super cop, Robocop.